We live in a world where people are killing each other over whose version of God is accurate. And the Masons are an organization, a global organization, that will pull in Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, and people who don't even know what to call their religion, and ask them to worship as brothers, shoulder to shoulder. They'll say, let's forget the semantics. Let's not worry about what you call God, what I call God. Let's just call it the great architect of the universe and agree that we all believe in a higher power. So for me, that universality and open-mindedness is very admirable and attractive. And beyond that, of course, I've always been interested in secret societies. The Masons have some pretty interesting secret rituals, and of course, you see one of them on the opening pages of the book.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know how much has changed about my view of Freemasonry. Angels and Demons focused more on the conspiratorial aspect of the Masons. The fact that any time that you have an organization that won't tell you what they're doing, there's a lot of mystery around them and people make up stories, and certainly, as in with any organization, there have been abuses of power. And Angels and Demons talked about one of the abuses of power that is well documented, propaganda due with the Vatican Bank, Banco Ambrosiano, and that whole scandal. That was just one aspect of Masonic history. In The Lost Symbol, I chose to focus more on their philosophy, which I find very admirable. And yet, of course, as with any organization, the Masons is made up. They're made up of humans, and human beings are fallible, and so you're going to have a couple bad apples in there. As far as a number of books, I can't give you a number. It's well over 100. I mean, this book took quite a while to write, mainly because of the quantity of information that I had to learn to write it. I read voraciously for a couple years on the topic of the ancient mysteries, Freemasons, and noetic science. And I actually approached it from a rather skeptical standpoint, especially with respect to to noetic science. I just said, is this real science? I'm not, and it took me a while to really come to believe it and realize that this is real science. Every single experiment in the novel is factual. It has happened. It has described how it happened. The results are actual. And that for a lot of American readers, at least, has been very shocking. Just to say, well, we've weighed the human soul. We've frozen ice in different crystals using our brains. How could this possibly be true? So I guess the short answer is a lot of assimilated research, at least 2 years worth. Yeah. I will tell you that I worked 7 days a week on The Lost Symbol over these last 6 years. I probably in total took 10 days off. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day and write, including Christmas. I wrote on Christmas morning for 6 years. Lost Symbol took so long because of the quantity of research that had to go into it, and also because I wanted to make sure that I took the time that all of those people who love the Da Vinci Code would come to the Lost Symbol and immediately realize, oh, I'm back in the world of Robert Langdon, which you do realize very quickly as you start to read this book, and yet it feels fresh, it feels different. It's in a different city, it's got a different pace and a different vibe about it. As far as the next book, I will tell you that I have a whole lot of ideas. The next book is coming together in my head. I don't know when I'm going to start writing, and I've learned that you can never, ever guess how long a book is going to take. If you told me The Lost Symbol was going to take 6 years, I would have said impossible. I hope it's not another 6 years. We'll just have to see. The question is how difficult it is to research secret societies. It depends on the society. I've researched the Vatican, the National Security Agency, National Reconnaissance Office, Opus Dei, and it really depends what kind of information you're looking for. For example, the Masons were very, very open about their philosophies and their spirituality. Happy to talk about their views of God and morality and ethics. Much less happy to talk about secret rituals. And the Masons are, I think they're not sure what to make of this book, because on the one hand they're very happy that the book talks with admiration and respect for their history, for their symbolism, for their moral beliefs, and yet they're not happy with with all of the secret information that's come out about their rituals. So that's that's your answer.
Do you have any Masons in your family or anyone?
Do I have any Masons in my family? Not in my immediate family, but if you go back one generation, a lot of Masons. And actually that's true for a lot of people in America. You get back into the early 1900s, late 1800s, Masonry was very, very powerful. And a lot of men were Masons.